Well, I don't know where to start except talk about our seniors. The leadership, tremendous all year. It didn't start in August, it started in January. And it's something that I, as a head coach, am very, very proud of, is the culture of that locker room. It's at a very, very high level right now, with senior leadership all the way down to the freshmen. And you know, these kids today, they showed it. We had 4 or 5 kids out with the virus, didn't even suit up, and we're making changes in pregame with all the special team stuff. And we just rise up. We find a way. You know, his brother pulls his hammy late, and we get a guy to go down early in the game, and he goes out for a series, and we have a high school quarterback, receiver, Ronald Butler, come in. Those are the kind of things that, guys, that's hard to coach. My hats are off to our players. They earned this win. They earned 30 wins over 3 years, and I'm proud to be their coach. And congratulations to UTEP, great year. I got a lot of respect for Sean Kugler and that staff, a lot of respect. They run the football well. They run behind their pads. They're a tough physical program, and so hats off to them. Tremendous game, very, very competitive right down to the very end, and I'm just proud to be the coach here at Utah State.
Talk about, number one, getting to 10 wins and how important that was for you guys, especially you, Zach. Coach first and then Zach.
Well, I always talk about opportunities, and when they're presented in front of you, you got to take advantage of them. You got to grab them, and you got to go find a way to do it. You know, this isn't a video game. You don't screw it up in the first quarter or two and hit reset and say, hey, I'd like to play again. Or my guy got killed, I ran out of men, you know, like these guys play all the time. It doesn't happen, and so you got to take advantage. And you know, 100 and something years of Utah State football, and it's the second double-digit win team ever. It's unbelievable. 3 straight bowl games, wins. They'll never take it away from this bunch, and I'm just proud to coach them.
Yeah, just to be able to go out, get 10 wins senior year is pretty special. Be able to play with a group of guys that we did in the senior class that was resilient through everything the coach just said. You know, I'm just very proud and honored to be a part of that and associated with this program. And I can't wait to come back next year and watch my little brother keep playing.
And defensively, to bounce back the way you did, how important was that for you guys, Zach?
That was huge. We talked about that right after the game. We said, you know, that wasn't us. And that's something we want to come out and prove, that we were a good run-stopping defense. Now, they had a lot of yards, but they're a good football team also, so give them full credit. But for the most part, I think our defensive line did a really good job of keeping the O-linemen off of Nick and I, and allows us to scrape.
Coach, Mark Smith, Albuquerque Journal. Question for both of you guys. A separate question going to be for Kent. When he went down in the first half, how serious did you think it was? Was that why you guys were basically trying to run out the clock? Because I know she had 2 timeouts, and then did everything change when you had the big play by the receiver?
Well, Ronald Butler was the backup quarterback for the last 3 weeks. You know, that's what we were down to. And when Kent got dinged up a little bit, Bud came in and I said, let's call the quarterback draw and see where we're at. And had we gotten stopped, we probably would have handed it off twice and probably punted it out of there and been smart with the football. You know, because at that time it was a 1-possession ball game. And so we were going to be really smart and play the clock. And Ronald busted loose, and then we got another play right after it. All of a sudden we got 2 explosives. And you know, he throws a fade ball pretty good. We've been practicing that, and I thought he put a good pass on Hunter, and then that was this knucklehead. But we moved it down, and you know, unfortunately, we weren't able to make the kick. I can handle that. That's a physical mistake, but I thought it was a nice job by Ronald coming in for Kent.
Kent, when you got hit, did you know how bad did you think you were hurt, and how much did it mean to you to make sure you came back in the game?
Yes, sir. You know, it's a part of college football, like Coach said. And even if I was hurt, I was going to go back in anyways. So, you know, send my seniors out right and come out with a W. And, you know, regardless, I was going to come out and just play hard.
Was it pretty much just a bell run, or was there any physical?
Yeah, they just brought me in just for a little bit, just to make sure I didn't have any concussions or anything. But other than that, you know, I was fine. I just want to go back out there and battle with my team.
Sorry, Matt, I kind of showed up late to the party.
I see you.
Okay. There's been a full-on culture change in Logan. Things have changed so much over the course of the last 4 years. What has it been like for you to be one of the masterminds of that? You come out with a vision, Gary had a vision, and then the kids follow, and it's worked.
I'm just a small part of it. I mean, I'm just the guy that gets to go to the post-game press conference and say whether it's, take or defer. I'm just a small part of it, and I mean that because I'm a firm believer that, when you structure a program, you can't have rules without relationships, and that's big in our building. Relationships we have with the players that they have back, I think it's pretty deep, and it matters. It really does. But unless the kids are willing to open up their heart and be coached hard and to be loved hard and to be held to a really, really high standard of discipline on and off the field, it's not going to work. And so ultimately, it is always on the players to be very, very coachable and have open hearts, and that's what's got it changed right now.
To be an outsider and to come to the state of Utah, there's a definite pecking order, and it seems like for years Utah State was always a third wheel, living in the shadow of BYU and Utah, and it seems like maybe those days have come to an end, at least for the time being.
These three guys up here won't declare that. You guys can handle that stuff, and we'll just show up to play every single week, and we're fine being the little brother because we'll play with the chip on our shoulder. We're prepared and trained with the chip on our shoulder, and that's for you guys to write. And we're not going to declare that we're there, but when you put 4 straight teams together, it starts to become a program.
Anyone else?
Matt, can you talk about the last touchdown drive, what kind of came together to make the offense do so well?
Yeah, well, I was kind of wishing that drive would have come 2 series earlier, Kurt, when the defense gave us great position, field position. We ended up going with a couple perimeter runs. We were struggling in between the tackles just there for a minute. Thought we tried to get JoJo out on the perimeter, and I thought Kurt Meyers did a really nice, who's the other freshman? Knucklehead. Lawan, yeah. They're all knuckleheads. He did a nice job out on the perimeter blocking, and then we got Joe the ball. And I think we saw a couple things on the edge, and we wanted to be smart, still trying to run time off the clock, but we were able to hit a couple seams. Thought we had that early in the first quarter, but we were able to hit it, and tremendous job by the offensive line, and a lot of those runs were on the left side right behind Kevin Wimpy, and that's kind of a neat way to go out if you're a left tackle.
Coach, I know you said yesterday it was all about the players, not the roots that you had here, but was there a part of you at any time late in the game that felt pretty good walking off of that particular field and that stadium with a bowl win?
Yeah, it did. It's probably after it was over when you see a lot of guys, Coach Birmingham come up and some of the other boosters, first team guys, the Lobos, old Lobos, kind of the Rockies era a little bit. Sure it is. Yeah, absolutely. But again, it's not about me or that coming back to Albuquerque. It's all about these players. They're the ones that went out and earned the win, and it makes it special for me at the end, but it's obviously not a big deciding factor.
This is for Zach. Obviously, you and your brother had a great game on defense, but what's it like standing on the sideline watching your brother rumble into the end zone?
That's awesome. I've always said he's been the best athlete of both of us, but our little sister's actually the better of all 3 of us. But knowing that he's that talented, he can play both sides of the ball, that's just who he is, and that's the kid I grew up watching. And he's got to put a little more size on so he can be a little more effective and last the whole game. But he did a good job.
Ken, would you describe your touchdown and how you got so open and what you saw?
It was a zone read, and our offensive line did great blocking and just freed me up. And I just took it to the house, and like I said, great blocking from our receiver Devontae Robinson, and so.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Ken, just to elaborate, today you were just running all over the place. I think you had something like 14 or 15 runs tonight. Just what were you seeing out there in your first bowl game to where you had so much space to run the football and really get after it like that?
We had some design runs, and like I said, they're a great defense. So I took the opportunity when I saw the hole just to take it. With the carries that I got, majority of it were reads, and like I said, I'm just reading my defender and just going with it.
Coach, can you just talk a little bit about the senior class and what they've meant to this program?
It meant everything. Winning a senior class in Utah State history. The coolest thing about them, to me, was something that I've tried to stress in our weekly, actually our captain's meetings, but I think our seniors have done a great job of this, is leading by production. I think your leadership platform is increased when you produce, and when you produce when the game's on the line and the bright lights are out and you're on a big stage. And when you do that, you have a platform of vocal leadership now. And from Zach to Kevin Wimpy to BJ, Sweet, Frankie Satera, Joe Hill, those guys have been tremendous leaders. And it continues to get passed down to each class. And that's what's important when you create this culture. You have to sustain a culture, which is, I think, harder. And you got to continue to teach young kids when they come in, freshmen or transfers, what it is, how we do it the Aggie way. And these guys have done a tremendous job teaching, but besides teaching, they've showed it. And they're all about show and their production. And so I think that's what has made them a great senior class, and obviously they won a lot of games.
Just to follow that up a little bit on Zach, he ended up just short of those records. You said the other day you didn't need those. But...
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but there's an off-season project for our defensive GA. We're going to go back. He just told me right now, he looked down and he said, Coach, I think they missed a couple halves earlier in the year. So we're going to go back and check it. So we'll let y'all know, all right? Doug, we're going to go back and look at that stuff. So.
Anyone else?
Zach, any thoughts on right now being a little short on that?
Glad we won the game. So, he'll get some in a postseason All-Star game. We'll add it to the total.
Hey, Coach, this one, elaborate if you could. I mean, starting off at the beginning of the year, you definitely had a vision for the team, almost plagued with injuries. What was the difference maker throughout the year in the kids?
Oh, well, I don't know if you put one thing on it, but I think the big word that we've used, and we've kind of worn it out a little bit, is they're resilient. It's next man up. We kind of subscribe to that mantra a little bit. But I don't think you become tough, and I don't think you become resilient right in the middle of the season when adversity hits. You learn how to face adversity in the off season in football, and that's called January, February, it's called June and July. And that's when we win games around Utah State, is the time where none of you guys are around, nobody really wants to do it. That's the hardest months at Utah State. And so when guys go down, we wrap our arms around the new guy, and we play a little bit better around him on the other side of the ball or just around him. And that's been the recipe. But again, it's these kids that are doing it, and all this credit, all the success that they have, it all goes to them.
Anyone else?
Okay, thanks, guys.